Good afternoon, every. Good afternoon, my peeps. I want to share some news with you on here. I don't hardly do live on this channel, but I said I'm going to try something on it today. All right. Now I want to talk about Buster Rhyme and Mr. Golden and also Chief Curry. Yeah, Chief Curry, although he said he doesn't want the government to involved in his thing, the government decide, the PM decide still to do so. Well, I'm going to read you. Let me look for it. I'm going to read you. Let me change these glasses because it's kind of giving my eyes problem. Yeah. I'm going to read you what Chief Curry is saying here. Let me find the article. And then I'm going to show you the video of what he's saying. Chief Curry. Coming up with it. Oh God, I finally, wow. I think sensitivity lost. Hold on, give me another chance to get there again. Oh, see it here? No. Devil's a liar, you know. Why is that trying to give me trouble now? I'm coming at it. I'm coming. The devil's a liar. Anyway, I soon get to it. Oh, it's right here. I'm going to read you this news because I won't stay on here long because I want to go on my other channel shortly. So you guys can go over there and like, share, and subscribe. The name of that channel is Jamaica Speaks and Study the Word. That is the name of that other channel. That's my main channel now because this channel, no, it's not working. No, it's not working out. But I'm not ready to give up. After the 28th of December, I will know if I'm going to continue with this channel or not. So anyway, let me read you what Chief Curry says here. Chief Curry announced that the Accompong Military Council will reject the use of the military. He said that the other day, and he rejected, but I get to understand that the PM is still persistent on helping them. I don't know why. Why he's so persistent, and everybody knows he wants to take that place from them. But anyway, let me give you this piece. I can't find the one that is still pushing in. So let me read this out. Chief Curry announced the Accompong Maroon Council will reject the use of military personnel, including engineers from Jamaica Defense Force, in rebuilding efforts following the widespread damage caused by Hurricane Melissa. He clarified that the decision is not a refusal of help per se, but rather a determination to manage reconstruction through civilian-led channels and existing community partnerships. Curry expressed appreciation for the humanitarian intent behind the offer, noting that the Maroon Council is grateful for the provision of material and equipment offered by the government, but draws a distinction between accepting aid in kind and allowing a militarized presence on Maroon lands. He emphasized that Accompong already has access to international donation. It's like say he's glad for the help, what it's like, 2-1 ticket because Curry knows exactly what they're after. So it's like he's glad for the aid, but saying that, one ticket. You understand? Trying to avoid it, but yet the government is pushing to do so. I wonder why. There's a big question sign right there. All right, hear what Sakuri says here, and I'm going to play the video also. Let you hear what he's saying. Chief Curry definitely telling them that them have help. It's like in that way offer that they gave him, but it's like, like you have some people, they are enemies, but and they might try to give you things and try to friend you, but you don't want it, but they still a push. Until you tell them no, they still a give because they know their aim. I hate this now. Let me read that part again. Curry expressed appreciation for the humanitarian intent behind the offer, nothing that the Maroon Council is grateful for the provision of material and equipment offered by the government. Listen to this. But draws a distinction between accepting aid in kind of allowing the militarized presence on a compound land. It's like, on a military day, because what he's saying in the video, the people they go to one trauma already with the hurricane, with sister Hurricane Melissa, and when they see the presence now of military, people around them, knowing the aim that the government has, they're traumatized, they're scared. All right. He emphasized that a compound already has access to international donations, technical partnerships, and volunteer engineering assistance arranged through its civilian structures and with support from international donors. So he's telling them plainly that he has help. He's getting help. So no one help from them. That's what he's saying. Plain as that. Another key concern underscored by Corey is the emotional well-being and cultural sensitivity of community members. He noted that many, especially elders, women, and children, have endured trauma from the destruction and the trauma of Hurricane Melissa, and argued that the presence of armed military personnel, even in humanitarian roles, could exacerbate distress and undermine cultural stability. So you see, it's like the people them scared, right? They don't want them around them. Well, cultural. The council believes that civilian or volunteer based reconstruction teams are more appropriate for preserving emotional security at this time. Government From a governance standpoint, Chief Curry cited that historical and legal underpinnings of Maroon autonomy under the 1738 Peace Treaty. He argued that recovery efforts within a compound must respect the community's own laws, government institutions, and cultural protocols. An approach, he says, is better upheld by civilian and community-based reconstruction efforts rather than by national military deployment. They don't want them there, plain as that. In closing, Corey made it clear that the rejection of JDF deployment is not a rejection of cooperation, but a reaffirmation, of the Maroons' right to self-determination in post-disaster recovery. He expressed hope that all parties will respect a compound decision and the fundamental principles to indigenous rights, asserting that the community remains committed to peaceful engagement and to rebuilding on their own terms. You see, plain as that. All right, I'm going to play the video for you guys now to see what he is talking about here. I'm going to play the video for you. I'm going to flip the camera. The man no want, he no want them, and he no want help from them. In glad. Yes, he said yes, he thank them, but he no want it,
Ashe. Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, on behalf of Indigenous people of a compound and the wider Maroon districts of Cockpit Country, I send sincere appreciation for your recent visit to our community and for the government of Jamaica's expression of support following the destruction caused by Hurricane Melissa. Your presence, accompanied by the several ministers of government, marked the first official visit of your administration to a compound since my election in 2021, and it was warmly welcomed by all people. We remain grateful for the humanitarian gesture extended to the compound people and for your willingness to mobilize resources, particularly those of the JDF military, to assist with the recovery efforts. We also acknowledge your reference on international partners including Ethiopia, Ghana, and Rwanda, who have expressed readiness to assist in the island's rebuilding efforts. Honorable Prime Minister, following a deep, comprehensive internal review and a formal deliberation, the full Maroon Council has this time decided not to accept the offer on the militarization of the space during the recovery effort. The full Maroon Council instead has resolved to continue with the response, utilizing civilian resources from our joining communities and our partners, both locally and internationally, who have offered to the community their assistance in the recovery efforts. Instead, the Council would like to thank you for the offer on materials and would accept the offer on those materials and equipment necessary to assist in those recovery efforts. We want to ensure, Mr. Prime Minister, that harmony and inclusiveness of our Maroon human resources, of those here in our compound and adjoining communities, are balanced to execute the infrastructural relief efforts across our Maroon communities. This methodology aligns with our laws and cultural way of life. This decision is based also on the following considerations. 1. The established reconstruction partnerships and resources a compound has secured through international donations, through technical sponsorships, and volunteer engineering assistance sufficient to address the rebuilding and development needs arising from the hurricane. These partnerships, coordinated through the Compound Development Foundation, reflect years of relationship building, and they provide to us a structured, culturally and aligned framework for reconstruction across the Maroon territory. The second consideration was the protection of community well-being and trauma sensitivities. As you would have recognized, our community was significantly devastated, and many of our elders, some of the women as well as children, have endured profound emotional trauma. In the aftermath, the introduction of military personnel carrying assault rifles, as we would have seen just the other day, even in a humanitarian capacity, could exacerbate and distress and cause additional distress among residents of the community. The Council believes that reconstruction conducted through civilian and community-based teams is the most appropriate path for maintaining emotional security and cultural stability at this time. This, I'm sure, you can understand, Mr. Prime Minister. Our treaty obligations and governance. The third consideration would be the treaty obligations and governance responsibilities a compound as a treaty recognized indigenous polity under the 1738 treaty bears the responsibility of in ensuring that the recovery operation within the territorial space are consistent with its laws, governance institutions, and cultural protocols. The Council has therefore determined that internal and partner-supported reconstruction efforts remain the most suitable avenue for the recovery from the damages that were sustained.
Good afternoon, Glendon. Glenda. Good afternoon, my dear.
Nor does it diminish the appreciation of the humanitarian intent.
Thank you for joining.
Behind your offer. We again thank you. But rather, it reflects a compound's capacity to manage its internal recovery efforts through established civilian channels and international.
Thank you for joining, Glenda. Demalera, thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I'm going to flip it back as you can see it. Thank you.
Collaborative efforts that have been ongoing since the impact of this storm. I again reiterate our commitment to engage in dialogue on areas where meaningful cooperation between the government of Jamaica and the Accompong Maroons can be maintained. We thank everyone for their continued support, particularly in matters related to the disaster readiness and recovery from the effects of Hurricane Melissa. The Maroons continue to show their resilience and share their support with the broader communities impacted by the storm. We respectfully emphasize that this disaster relief cannot be interpreted as altering or diminishing Accompong's treaty-recognized autonomy. The historical and legal foundations of the 1738 treaty remain intact and continue to guide our interactions with the Jamaica state government. Honorable Prime Minister, we again express our sincere gratitude for your visit and your expression of solidarity during this difficult time. We remain committed to peaceful engagement, transparent dialogue, and long-term well-being of all communities within Cockpit Country. May this period of national recovery represent an opportunity for renewed mutual respect and for collaborative efforts that honor both Jamaica's constitutional framework and Accompong's treaty-based autonomy. Thank you.
So you see, he's not being disrespectful, you know. They need the help, but it's like he's trying to avoid trouble then. Because he said thank you. He said thank you to the PM, you know, to that government. Yes, he said thank you, but he's saying clearly that he's getting help. He don't need any more help from them because they don't want to see the military people around them. That traumatize the people them. After Melissa traumatized them so much, it's like they don't want any more. You know, they just want to be at peace because they knew Curry and his people. They knew what these people is all about and what they're after. They knew. They know. They know. So that's right. And I seen the news the other day. I found the news and I forget to save it, where the government is still pushing to help. All right, they need help, yes, but the man making it clear that he don't want no more help. He's getting help. He has something, and he's still pushing. Why not go and help some hard hit areas? Because Mr. Curry is refusing, you know. So why not go and help some other hard hit areas? The first visit he made, it was in St. Elizabeth. And you know where he visited? Where he visited the Liberate area, St. Elizabeth. Why not go to, why never go to the eye, where the eye hit like Westmoreland, Savannah, them places there. Long after he went, no, I ain't go down there, no. Long after I go down there. You understand me? So you can see the partisan thing in this. But anyway, that's how they play their game. That's how they do it, brothers. I'm not going to stay on this live long because I'm going to start my other live as about 20 minutes after I come off of this. On the other channel, Jamaica Speaks and Study the Word. I mostly do work on that one now. But I just come on here to, you know. Now I'm going to give you more news on Mr. Golden. Let me look for the article and read what Mr. Golden was saying, and then I'm going to play you Mr. Golden's video. I never remember. You know, I almost come off and not read. Can we read more on the other one, the other channel now? Anyway, let me read from Mr. Golden piece, and I'm going to show his video also. The opposition leader Mark Golden began his address by emphasizing that this time he's talking about fiscal rules. Yes, about fiscal rules. The opposition leader Mark Golden began his address by emphasizing that fiscal rules are an essential part of Jamaica's economic framework, but must be treated as living instruments rather than rigid formulas. He argued that while these rules have helped stabilize the microeconomic environment, they must evolve in step with the country's social and development priorities. According to him, fiscal discipline should never be divorced from the lived realities of ordinary Jamaicans. Golden stressed that fiscal rules should operate as guidelines, not shackles. He explained that overly restricted frameworks can limit the government's ability to respond to economic shocks, natural disasters, or urgent needs in sectors such as health and education. He highlighted that Jamaica is particularly vulnerable to external disruptions, making flexibility just as important as discipline. He also raised concerns about transparency. Transparency. Nothing that fiscal rules are only as effective as the public's understanding of them. Golden argued that citizens need to clearly see how decisions about debt ceiling spending targets and revenue projection affect national priorities. Without this clarity, fiscal management becomes an elite exercise rather than a democratic one. A key theme of this remarks Um, a key theme of these remarks was the importance of growth oriented spending. Golden argued that fiscal rules should make room for productive investment, especially in infrastructure, technology, and human capital that can expand the economy long-term capacity. In his review, sustainable growth is what ultimately makes debt reduction achievable without burdening the population. The opposition leader also pressed the government to avoid using fiscal rules as a political shield. He cautioned against situations where leaders dismiss calls for necessary social spending by hiding behind um, numerical targets. Instead, he urged a balanced approach in which rules serve as a framework for responsible choices rather than an excuse of inaction. Golding points that periodic nepotism reviews of the fiscal rules may help ensure they remain relevant. Such where did I reach? Relevant. Such reviews, he suggested, should include input from economists, civil society, and political stakeholders to create broad-based consensus around revisions. This would prevent the rules from becoming outdated as the country's needs change. In closing, Gordon reiterated his belief that fiscal responsibility and social investment are not opposing goals. Rather, he insisted that a fair, flexible, and transparent fiscal rule system can help Jamaica pursue both stability and development. He pledged that the opposition would continue to advocate for a more inclusive conversation about how these rules can best serve the nation's along interest. All right, now I'm going to play you now the video where Mr. Golden is speaking on that. I'm going to flip the camera that you guys can see it. I'm just being creative here. I don't have the right.
You have been inquiring about the fiscal rules. What are the fiscal rules? How did they come about? The fiscal rules are laws that are designed to ensure that Jamaica follows a path in its budgets that will result in the debt of the country being at a sustainable level. Jamaica had been suffering from a long period of time with very high levels of public debt, and that the need to service that debt had crowded out all sorts of other important expenditures on the development of the country. And the fiscal rules were implemented in their current form in or around 2013 to ensure that by March 2026, which was a deadline set in the law then, we'd have got our debt down to 60% of GDPs. GDP being the annual total output of the economy, and the debt was supposed to get down to 60% of that figure by that date. Very important, because as you apply those fiscal rules, it keeps government on a path where, building for the future, we will be able to make the necessary investments in our infrastructure, in our social services, in education and health, etc., which is what people want to see happen for the country to move forward. How did it come about? Really, it was the context of the IMF program at that time and the desire to ensure that some of the mistakes that had happened in the past were corrected by putting into the law itself the need to run a necessary surplus each year to achieve that debt target. And I was the chairman of the legislation committee of cabinet at that time as Minister of Justice and was very involved in the writing of the law as that was eventually enacted in the Financial Administration and Audit Act to implement the fiscal rules. There are provisions for if there's a natural disaster, the suspension of the fiscal rules for a period of time with the permission of Parliament. And we had a suspension during the pandemic because of the massive hit that the economy took at that time as tourism and travel was shut down. And again, just this week, the Minister of Finance came and got the permission of Parliament to suspend the fiscal rules till March 2027 because of the impact of Hurricane Melissa, which, as we know, has devastated our economy. The rules do require that once the effect of that disaster is passed on the economy or the period of suspension comes to an end, then the budgeting process has to get us back on track to get the debt down to 60% of GDP by the stipulated date. The date in the law now, since the pandemic, is March 1, 2028. But I believe that will have to be shifted back further because we know that the impact of Melissa is going to involve the government taking on some additional debt to finance the recovery. And it's going to take a while, longer than projected, to get to the 60%. It's important to bear in mind that because the fiscal rules are written into the law, they're a guardrail that applies and binds any government. So in 2013, when we passed them into law, the PNP government, which lasted until 2016, had to abide by those fiscal rules, which we put into the law in 2013. And subsequently, the JLP government has had to abide by those rules as well. And a lot of the improvements that we've seen in terms of fiscal space and the reduced debt to GDP ratio and things that politicians like to take credit for are in fact really as a result of the fiscal rules being adhered to because the law requires it. And that's why there's such an important part of our overall economic architecture and ensuring that the country stays on a sustainable path going forward. So those are the fiscal rules, why they exist, and how they came about. Let's see.
All right, I've done some research here about the fiscal rule, and I'm going to read it for you guys. I've done some research. I'm going to read it for you guys. What I found in the research about fiscal rules. Fiscal rules are self-imposed limits or numerical targets government let me get distracted. They must send back a message. Give me a second, let me just listen to this message here. Wow. Give me a second. Don't go, just wait a message, you know. Mighty God. Just give me a second, please. Because it's on me, I'm going to try to connect you. If you like to party, phone and I'm saving on it. Rather than not keep more of services. Because it's on me, I'm going to try to connect you. If you like to party, phone and I'm saving on it. Right, I remember what fucking modem chipping on the iPhone. Big battery. Oh, yes, I truth. Me never remember. I don't believe me never remember. I never remember. Sorry about that. You can try tomorrow. So I rang chipping on the
But I did search properly, you know. I think you know I remember.
My God, I remember. All right, let me go back to my news. Hmm. What a big mistake. Oh my God. Oh Jesus, I went something. I've got to search for it again. Me lose it. All right, let me go back. Go do the research again. Oh, because I want to read you. Oh, sit here. Thank God. All right. Now you hear what Mr. Golden said about the fiscal rules. Now I've done my own research and I'm going to read it to you now. What my research telling me. All right. Let me start all over again. But don't get any more distractions. Fiscal rules are self-imposed limits or numerical targets governments set for their own spending, borrowing, and debts, designed to ensure long-term economic stability, fiscal discipline, and credibility with investors by preventing excessive deficit and debt accumulation. The Act has financial guardrails, often codified in law or political argument, providing a credible framework for managing public finances, much like a budget code of conduct. All right. Now, key objective and functions. I'm going to read that. Budgetary discipline prevents government from overspending or borrowing excessively. Credibility and trust signals to markets and the public of commitment to financial responsibility, reassuring investors. Economic stability, yeah, again. Um, Microeconomic risk from large budget imbalances, helping to control inflation and debt. Just like what Mr. Golden was saying, coordination can help coordinate fiscal policy across different government levels. All right. These are the common types of rules. Expenditure rules. Limit spending growth. Often has a percentage of GDP. The ratio, just like what he was saying. Budget balances rules. Require balanced budgets or set limits on deficits. All right. Um, features of effective rules. Features of effective rules, binding and clear. Strong legal basis or political commitment makes them hard to ignore. Independent oversight. Independent fiscal institution like the UK's OBR, minor compliance. Enforcement may include penalties, financial or reputational or non-compliance. So that's what, did this break it down? This but I found here, break it down, more for people to understand. All right, I'm going to show you two clippings and then I go to my other channel. That's Jamaica Speaks and Study the Word. This is now about Busta Rhyme and Mona Scott. What's her name again? Let me write down her name here. So let me look at her name. Mona Scott Young in Jamaica here, being aid for the people of Jamaica. So I'm gonna flip the camera and show you guys. I'm just being creative. See, bear with me, bear with me. Mona Scott Young. Oh God, I'm ready. Okay. See one here. I did that one there. No, true, I remember, man. You never know. Yeah, that's Busta Rhyme. That's Busta Rhyme right there. And Mona there. All right, I have another bit I want to show you, but I don't know if I made the screen recorder one day, no. I don't know if I made the screen record the next piece. Let me search. Oh, sit here.
Prime for this evening, I'm Deidre. Busta Rhymes has teamed up with media mogul Mona Scott Young to bring relief to Jamaica after hurricane.
Boots on the ground and we're gonna deal with the thing now. And we ain't stopping. The blessings don't stop, so we don't stop. Hands for Jamaica.
The blessings don't stop, so we don't stop. That's the sentiment expressed by Grammy-nominated rapper Busta Rhymes after arriving in Jamaica alongside Love and hip-hop executive producer Mona Scott Young to provide relief to victims affected by Hurricane Melissa.
We're hoping to go into the
Yes.
communities,
So
provide
that
aid,
is Mona
give
Scott
them
Young.
love, and show them that Jamaica is loved and not forgotten.
They've partnered with Dr. Janice Johnson Dyer, president of the Grassroots Community Foundation, who has Jamaican lineage.
Helping Hands for Jamaica is really this collaborative of people who understand that Jamaican people are resilient people and they need some support and love to guide them during this moment. Grassroots is here, particularly because Mona sits on our board and has always shown love, not just to Jamaica, but especially to women and girls.
The fans of the Gully got
Yeah, let me play it one more time.
Prime for this
Yeah.
evening, I'm Deidre. Busta Rhymes has teamed up with media mogul Mona Scott Young to bring relief to Jamaica after hurricane.
Boots on the ground and we're gonna deal with the thing now. We ain't stopping. The blessings don't stop, so we don't stop. Jamaica.
The blessings don't stop, so we don't stop. That's the sentiment expressed by Grammy-nominated rapper Busta Rhymes after arriving in Jamaica alongside Love and hip-hop executive producer Mona Scott Young to provide relief to victims affected by Hurricane Melissa.
We're hoping to go into the communities, provide aid, give them love, and show them that Jamaica is loved and not forgotten.
They've partnered with Dr. Janice Johnson Dyer, president of the Grassroots Community Foundation, who has Jamaican lineage.
Helping Hands for Jamaica is really this collaborative of people who understand that Jamaican people are resilient people and they need some support and love to guide them during this moment. Grassroots is here, particularly because Mona sits on our board and has always shown love, not just to Jamaica, but especially to women and girls.
The fans of the Gully got
Okay. So I'm going to play you the
Prime for
intro.
this evening, I'm Deidre. Busta Rhymes has teamed
I'm going to play the intro and then I'm going to go. I'm going to prepare for my other channel. So just enjoy the intro. Like, share, and subscribe. So that's it for this channel, guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you. I'm going on my other live now. So see you over there. Jamaica Speaks and Study the Word. Write down that. That's where I am. Go over there. I want to do some Bible studies over there. I didn't get